Hello Gary, I would just quickly like to show you what I've been working on in regards to the metro, because I feel like I have a pretty good idea of how we could do this whole thing better. So yeah, let me show it to you. Now, first off, what is the problem with the previous idea? Well, I've built this little mock-up of the metro tunnels, and I've also flown around the server to see how are the stations actually built. And most likely it looks like this, where we have the tunnel here, and then either directly above the lamps or like here, so one block above, the actual train station starts. Now, this presents a bit of a problem. I've already dabbled with this at the city central station, but basically you recall how for our passenger drop-off and passenger pickup system, where there are dedicated departure areas, dedicated arrival areas, for the departure it's somewhat easier since you could just have some tracks, have a hole, and just drop the player down to the track. But for the arrivals, what you effectively need is a staircase, a rail staircase, constructed all the way from the bottom of the tunnel to the station platform, and at the same time you also need to extend the track so that the other cars can't move around it. That takes a lot of space, and quite frankly at most stations the space isn't there. Like especially at City Central, it's an absolute disaster. Another thing I've also been thinking about, you may have not experienced this as much as I did, being, in Tokyo, but with high ping, the minecarts don't really go smoothly along the rails. Oh, this, by the way, this is high-speed rail. Did you know there's high-speed rail in this stuff? It's so cool. But anyways, the cars kinda will move for a bit, then kinda pause for like half a second, then you'll get like yanked forward. It's not the smoothest experience, which means when going at high speed, if we were to use our buttons on the wall strategy, levers on the wall, it's quite possible that somebody with high ping, me, could miss the levers and not be able to disembark at the station. Another potential issue with this is also just spatial awareness. If all you're doing is traveling down this long tunnel, which looks exactly the same from the beginning all the way to the end, and the only clue as to what station you are on are little monitors, it's pretty disorienting, and I'm willing to bet a lot of people, including us, are going to have issues figuring out just where the hell we are. If we were to arrive on a normal station platform, we could customize, maybe make it unique for that specific station. It'd be a lot better and a lot clearer to the player where they are on the system. And one last thing, the separation. The previous metro system, it requires detector rails it basically requires quite a bit of space in terms of free track, just running in a straight line. And that's also kind of hard to come by at some of the stations, especially ones that appear right after corners. And also, I don't really like running wires over long distances. It makes everything more complicated, and yeah. So with that, I did a bit of thinking, and well, you've seen the Republic of Flash Teens and how their metro systems work. And it got me thinking, the Flash Teens system, we're ignoring the fact that it's all command blocks for a while, has one huge benefit. It's extremely obvious what station you arrived at, because, well, you can see it. You're at the station platform. There's no need to really read signs once you know your surroundings. Another thing is, it's really small. It's really easy to fit into stations, which also means it's really easy to build stations, which is kind of important if you're planning to build a massive transport system. The downside is, though, the cars stop at the station, play this long jingle, and then move on, which if there's a lot of people on the track, is gonna slow you down a fair bit. So, with that being said, I took advantage of the fact that we have railcraft now, and I designed this little system, which works in spirit similarly to the Flash Teen system, except I think it's a lot swifter, and although you do stop, it's so short that I don't think it will cause a problem. So the idea is, for the stations themselves to just be stairs down into the metro tunnels. There will be like blocks here, like trapdoors that you can so that you cannot walk onto the track, and the track going the opposite way would just be here. That's why it was so important that this mechanism be so compact. But if you want to depart, you just press the button, and you're off. Yeah. Well, I guess it shows you, and then when you arrive at this at the station, like here, you just stop. If you want to get off, you get off, and that's it. There's a little beeping sound to inform you that you gotta make your decision right now whether you want to stay or not. The waiting time is 2.5 seconds, which I feel like is just long enough to be able to comfortably get out while not being too long. Now, let me also show you some other benefit of this system. Mainly, we gotta enforce separation, right? We cannot have people crashing into each other. So, this little track, this is really cool. It's called a boarding track. It allows you to actually stop dead end tracks, minecarts, no matter how fast they're going, and then with a redstone signal, release them back again. So, let's say there are two people who, well, first of all, because of how this works, they couldn't get that close in the first place. But let's assume two minecarts somehow got dangerously close to each other. What do we do? Like here, that's impossible to get out of, right? What the fuck? Okay, I guess they were too close. Let me try and catch it. Ah, there we go. Damn. Okay, so that's too close. How about this? I love it when demos go wrong. Okay, fuck, that's way too far. But at least you'll see. See, this guy stops, this card is held up. And then it's released onto the train. This one stops. This one goes forward. So yeah, there's always some delay, because of all this circuitry, the track doesn't switch instantly. If I delete one of the cards, you can see. So here it turns on, but only when this guy goes through, then it turns off. So yeah, this is not ideal, but it will, if the cars get any closer than like 5 blocks, we'll be able to separate them. So yeah. This of course isn't like fully idiot proof. Like if some guy is waiting here and another and this is beeping and he's about to go off, and another person were to spam this, then yeah, we got a problem. Until the cars separate themselves naturally. But either way, it's not a perfect system, but I feel like given the actual load our metro with the experience, it's good enough. It can maintain basic separation distance. If the cars like crash into each other, then yeah, they will separate each other over like many stations, but it's not ideal, but I feel like it's good enough. It's also very, very compact, as you can see. This is the tunnel wall, so it requires only 1 block ahead. It's gonna require like 2 blocks down for the dispenser, for the food tube system. But besides that, that's it. Nothing else. Yeah. There is one thing I've been hoping to figure out, and that is, well, what if a person doesn't get in? Now you have just a random minecart without a passenger going nowhere, which isn't exactly ideal, especially that... Thank you, Cave Sounds. Especially that I'm pretty sure once these leave the render distance of actual players, they will just stop. So yeah, that's not great. I've been thinking if maybe there's some other things to detect the empty cars and like destroy them, but I don't really think that's possible, unfortunately. I'll take a look, but yeah, that is also a potential issue. But again, given how this thing is actually gonna be used, I think it's fine. Like, even if one person has a cart through, another person will bump into it, sure, it'd be awkward, that person will not be able to get off, but at the end of the line, you will just have a cactus that destroys the minecart anyway. It does have issues, but I think for what we actually needed to do, this is pretty good. But I want to hear your opinion about this. And yeah, what do you think? Because with the current system, man, I don't really fancy building the metro like that. It's just really awkward to do all the stations. It's so much fucking work. It makes building new stations a pain in the ass. It requires a lot of resources, a lot of space. In the city center, it's sometimes almost near fucking impossible. Like, I don't know if you remember, but it took me like 6 goddamn full gaming sessions to get the city central station even routed properly. Whereas this, no matter how little space you have, you can just build, zero fucks given. And I think it works well enough. Also, by the way, this is the passenger pickup rail from Railcraft. You can set the range of this, which is really cool. Yeah. Let's get another one. I'm curious whether they'll separate, but I don't think so. Looking forward, I think what should be done is that this detector rail should be moved ideally like here, just to get that one bit of separation. I don't know. No, not I'm a passenger. But I think it's worth a try. Anyways, what do you think? Let me know. That's all I have for today. Just an idea that I think is worth considering. It's not perfect. It certainly has its issues. Let's try to get them close again, like here. I think for the actual load on the metro it will be fine. Yeah. Let me know what you think. Also, one more thing, even though this doesn't separate the cars that much, the separation distance here is a bit tighter than the previous system. That also, yeah, so more cars on the line. They basically need to be separated by these 3 blocks, it seems. Let's try it again. Okay, wait for it to come. Now. Yeah, that it can already handle, which is pretty damn close. One thing also about this mechanism is that besides this guy, it's all very cheap logic gates. A lot of them, mostly for compactness, but very cheap. Yeah, that's it. You've seen enough of this. Anyways, bye!